video of something that I want to have a faff around with. So I have ended up with lots of cooked chickpeas because of another project. So they're in the freezer at the moment, and I was kind of thinking, what on earth am I going to do with all those chickpeas? They're going to take me forever to eat. So I was kind of thinking, well, there must be something we can do with them. So I put them on top of cottage pie, and it was delicious. Well, it wasn't a cottage pie, it was like beef ragu with some cheese in and some extra onions, and it was very nice. There's like a substitute for mashed potato or polenta. It was very nice. And I was kind of thinking, well, what else can we do? And I was thinking, well, I've got 3 ideas I want to have a play around with. I want to do a like fritters type of thing, so kind of like fried chickpeas with a bit of cheese in. So that's what I'm going to do now. And then I want to do like hash brown, no, hash, not hash brown, a hash. So like with some chickpeas that are mashed up with some onion, and then fried off and kind of see to go like mashed potato when you fry it up like that. And then I want to kind of do some cheesy dumplings with the chickpeas as well. So mashed up chickpeas with maybe some onion in and some cheese, and we'll bind it all together with some egg. But first of all, I just kind of want to see if we can fry, because so when I did the chickpea cottage pie, the edges kind of crisped up and went fluffy, and I kind of thought, oh, that's kind of quite nice, was that. I wonder if we could fry the chickpeas, it would have done the same thing. You know, like when you fry old leftover mashed potatoes and the edges go like fluffy and crispy. I was kind of thinking, well, maybe that would kind of work. So I've got some mashed up chickpeas in here. I'm going to add some hard Italian cheese to start off with, and then we've got some cheap cheddar, which will kind of see how that, just put some cheese all over the floor, and we'll see how that kind of works. Right. Will it all bind together, or does it need a little bit of liquid? I think that'll need a little bit of liquid in there. What we've got to pour some liquid in. No, can't use that. I'll use this. So I might just need a little bit of liquid to bind. I don't want to put any egg in. I just want to make a paste more than anything. Hopefully that fat's not going to start burning. Maybe a little bit more liquid. Some of the chickpea water would have been better, but I've thrown that away. Unused it. Oh, that's okay. So, does it need a bit of seasoning? Probably. Yeah, so salt and pepper, and I think more cheese. So we'll use the cheese as the binding element, so the cheese will kind of melt and stick everything together. Hopefully. That's my plan, anyway. So, maybe I should have used my hands. Let's use my hands. Right, that feels okay. So, I'm doing like little patties type of thing, relatively thin. We'll do a few different ones. So we'll do ones that are a little bit thicker, and we'll do some thinner ones. So turn that up, and then hopefully this won't be too much of a long video. And then some thinner ones that are a little bit frayed around the outside. Like that. See which kind of ones work out better. So we'll see. Right. So I'll do the same with some cheap cheddar. We'll grate that down. I've got some more chickpeas just there, so we'll make another batch with the cheap cheddar and see what happens with that. But you get the idea of what I'm doing. I just think if we can use like a hard Italian cheese, and then we can use a cheap cheddar, it'd be a nice kind of comparison, because we're not always going to have cheap cheddar or cheddar, which is a medium kind of hard cheese in the fridge, and we're not always going to have like a hard Italian cheese or a harder Italian cheese. So if it works with both, that's a kind of good thing. We don't have to go out of the house and go, oh, we haven't got any parmesan, I have to go out and buy some parmesan. That's kind of what I'm getting at. But I'll pause, we're back when the others are frying as well. Right, so let's see if the cheese is enough to hold these together. That's okay. So these are the hard Italian cheese ones. Probably shouldn't have put any water in them. Probably should have left the chickpeas to be dry. No. Yeah, probably too much liquid in them. Probably didn't need that water that put in. Probably should have left them dry. But you can always have another go. And then these are the ones with the cheddar. Now they hold together a bit better. Oh, yeah, they hold together a lot better. So I think using hard Italian cheese doesn't need any a hard Italian cheese, because there's lots of hard Italian cheeses. We don't necessarily need the liquid. They need to be dry chickpeas. And probably the same with the cheddar as well. We don't actually need that liquid, but the ones with the cheddar have held together better. So it's going to make a mess of my frying pan because of all the fat that's going to come out of the cheese. But I did put a lot of cheese in. So we'll carry on cooking those and see what we turn out. But it's almost like going like a hash anyway, isn't it? Like a cheesy hash. Maybe we'll try the cheesy hash. We'll see. So we'll carry on cooking those and we'll see what happens. We certainly couldn't deep fry them. We'll certainly have to shallow fry them. Right, so let's pull one of these out. So a bit of a mass, not holding together like I would have liked, but let's give it a taste. No, I certainly shouldn't have put that water in. They're just falling to bits, but very cheesy. The cheese is not going to be a binding agent though, not to worry. Turn it off now, I'll give them a taste. Because that's what's really important, isn't it? How things actually taste, not how they look. Nice though. Nice. Certainly if you like chickpeas and you like cheese, there's a joke somewhere there from an old British TV series, well, comedy show. Hot. That bit is how I wanted it to go. But I think just too much liquid in it. I don't want to put any flour in or anything like that, because that'll be the one that we do when we do a dumpling. There might be some egg and there might be some flour in there. I suppose we could put some chickpea flour in. I don't really like chickpea flour though. It's got a funny taste to it. But anyway, so how does this one taste? With the cheap cheddar. Nice actually. The one with the cheap cheddar is nicer. Well, talking with a mouthful. So, didn't need the water. Didn't need the water. So we'll have another go and we'll put it on the end. So I've got plenty of chickpeas. So we'll put that on the end, or I might put that next. And then we'll make some like a hash, and then we'll do some like dumplings as well. And we'll see about using these chickpeas up in a delicious manner. I have fried off a bit of bacon with some onions. The onions are now soft, the bacon is relatively crispy, and then we're going to put in some of these chickpeas. Or we're going to do it another way. Let's save some of those chickpeas and let's mix it in the pan, I think, because we want that fat to fry the outside, although it's going to soak in anyway, so there's the fat. we're going to do. No, that fat's going to get mixed in anyway, isn't it? We'll always have to add more to the pan. So let's just mix it in the pan. Let's just mix it in the pan. How much are we going to do? That much. I'll get saved for the next part of the project. So, don't think it'll need much salt in, because the bacon's kind of quite salty. The bacon's salty because it's certainly a year old now. So we'll fry that and we'll see how it goes, but I think we'll need to add some more fat. Taste the chickpeas. Certainly need some pepper. I'll need some salt. So best off adding some now. Mix it around. Fry it. See how it turns out. Do you need to see the frying process? No, you don't need to see the frying process. Nah, you don't need to see the frying process. I'm just going to fry it and then we'll see what happens. Right, so this is frying and it's going crispy. It's not holding together like potatoes would, but it's still working. So, got a bit stuck in my throat. Right, that's better. So, I suppose we could have binded it together with an egg or some flour, but I didn't really want to do that. So, give it a taste, make sure we get some bacon, make sure we get some chickpeas, make sure we get a bit of onion. Very nice with that. I shall put that in there on a plate, fry a couple of eggs, and that'll make a lovely breakfast. Let's have another go at this. So I have, there's 200 grams worth of chickpeas and 100 grams worth of cheese, so very cheesy. I think it's going to need some flour. I think it's going to need some flour in there. How much is this going to weigh? Let's make that 50 grams. Let's make that 50 grams and then we know how much flour we're adding. Then we can do like a proper recipe rather than me just... Oh no, we can do two, can't we? We can do two thinner ones. So we've taken 50 grams out of it, so we'll know roughly what to kind of add, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if the cheese holds it together. It might not. It doesn't matter if it doesn't. No, it looks like they're already going to fry themselves to bits. But the cheese might go crispy and it might hold together, but already it's making a mess of the oil. So it probably does need some flour in. So we'll be back when we're going to flip them over, or when they've destroyed themselves, I think. 50 grams worth of plain flour. So firmer now. So we don't need to make them so big, do we? No. All could have been a bit hotter, but not to worry. So we'll fry these and we'll taste that. I think that's going to be delicious. Well, basically fried cheese with a bit of chickpea in it, isn't it, really? It's a mixture of the hard Italian cheese and the cheap cheddar. I mean, delicious, but just destroyed themselves when they were frying. That's really good. That's really good. I need holding together better. I did knead it a little bit, so mixed it in and then got my hands in there and kind of like kneaded it a little bit, like you would do a gnocchi. So potentially these are a little bit chickpea gnocchis. That must be a thing already. There's nothing new under the sun. Starving. I've been swimming, so I'm really hungry. That's so good. Mind you, is it because I've been swimming? We once went on a stag do and went canyoning, where you jump into really cold water and swim around. in all these canyons in on the Peak District. Was it the Peak District? Was it down? Can't remember. And we were in and out of freezing cold water all day. And then when we kind of went to get changed, there was a burger van. And so we all had a burger, and this burger was the best burger ever. But it was all because we were tired and hungry and freezing cold. So it was the best burger ever. So I think eating when you're really hungry or tired is probably not the best indication of something is delicious. That's worked, hasn't it? So that's worked. So potentially we could make chickpea gnocchis. Just the flour and the mashed up chickpeas would make gnocchis, wouldn't it? To some kind of degree. I wouldn't recommend using chickpea flour to make them, but like smashed up chickpeas to make like a gnocchi, I think that would work. We might just try some of that in some boiling water and see what happens. But that's worked. So they are chickpea fritters. That's definitely worked. So we'll pause when we're back when they're cooked on the other side, and then we'll have a taste. I bought some water as well. Right, so we have some water. I've just rolled it out into a bit of sausage, like that, and then kind of cut it into squares and then put a fork mark in the top, which is normally what you do with gnocchis. So we'll see what happens with these, if the water wants to boil them to bits or they will hold together. Who knows? Who knows? Right, let's give these a taste. Those gone nice and crispy, haven't they? Probably should have put them on a bit of paper. Ooh, lots of cheese in there. They're good. Yeah, really good. Well, they're a success. I just need to do a version now with some egg in. That looks like these are boiling to bits. No, I don't know. I can hate the other one. Now they're going to boil to bits. No, they might hold together. I'm going to speak with my mouth full then. Like I just did. Well, it's not going to boil to bits now, I don't think they will do. I think it's that crucial time when the outside needs to kind of set. To stop it from just disintegrating, but they do look like they want to kind of. See, I never believe gnocchis are ready when they just start. As soon as they come to the surface, I was kind of thinking, really? They're cooked that quickly? They're cooked that quickly, but that's what happens. So, let's take them out. Have a look, see what we think. We'll leave that one. It looks like it's going to break apart. We'll just leave that in a little bit longer and see what happens. So, how are these? Alright, probably a little bit too much flour, but they needed that flour to kind of keep them together. Whereas if we're using potato, the potato would hold it all together. That doesn't look like it's going to boil itself to bits, so alright. They're not amazing, but there again I don't think gnocchis are amazingly tasting either, so let's give another one. Now they've just cooled slightly. Yeah, it works. I'm not saying they're delicious, but it works. Right, so now we'll move on to doing the ones where we mix a bit of egg in and see what happens then. And then we can, I was going to deep fry, wasn't I? Yeah, so instead of just shallow frying, we'll put a lot more oil in there and we'll come back when that, and I'll talk about the recipe then. The recipe is 300 grams worth of chickpeas, 100 grams worth of cheese, 100 grams worth of flour and an egg, salt and pepper. Now, when you're making things like this and you add salt, you kind of have to use it straight away, because if you leave it for any amount of period of time, it starts to become sticky because the salt wants to draw moisture out of things. And the chickpeas are, some are slightly mashed, some are like pureed. So I don't think we want to be doing too deep ones, and I think they kind of want to be a little bit, so if they're a little bit rough, then we'll have some jagged corners and they'll crisp up. Ooh, that needs to get turned down a little bit more. So yeah, and a medium egg with the egg size. So don't fry things like this. Buy a proper fryer or an air fryer or whatever you want to do. This is highly dangerous, and one day I will have an accident. Well, probably not. I'm very careful. So I'll start off with 5. It looks like they hold it together. Is it onion bhaji's that are made with chickpea flour? I had the Delia Smith made some chickpea fritters years ago, which I remember, which were chickpeas and onion and kind of like a yogurt to hold it together. So there's certainly, this is not something new that I'm creating. It's just me faffing around with some chickpeas that I had in the freezer. Oh, they're okay. They're holding together. Going crispy on the outsides. I don't know what temperature this oil is. Don't know. Have I got a... can't remember if I've got a thermometer at home. Anyway, we're only guessing and we're only playing around, aren't we? So, we'll let those fry and I'll do a bit of tidying up and we'll be back when they are ready. Right, so these seem like they are ready. Well, they're brown on the outside. And what we really have to do is heat them to the centre. I mean, eggs in the UK aren't going to kill you. They've all the hens have been inoculated against salmonella these days, so it's fine to eat raw eggs in the UK, unless you're a child, pregnant woman, or elderly. Kind of don't recommend. So I'm going to cook some more, probably, so we can leave that on. But we'll just taste these, see how they feel. Looks alright. Oh, it was the hard Italian cheese that I used. They're nice. Nice and cheesy. No doubt we could do it with other beans or other pulses. Very nice. So, mixed results, but overall pretty successful and nice to eat. I will write the recipes down in the description. I think they don't have to be exact. It's one of those things that don't actually have to be exact, the recipes. There's a little bit of leeway with them, you know, a little less flour, a little bit more flour, a large egg instead of a medium egg, you know. Chickpeas out of a tin, they don't have to be bought, but I'll put the rest in the description. But I think those are a success, and I think lots of other things were kind of like a success. The only downside is that this feels probably a little bit too long, but anyway, delicious and a success. I am cooking the rest of these chickpea mixture that I made, and I did add in the mixture that was left over for making the gnocchi. So, mix them together, that's fine. But what I did do is I made them really kind of like rough around the outside. So they've gone rough like that, so they go really kind of quite crispy. Much nicer like that. Well, even nicer than they already are. So those kind of crispy bits on the outside. So make them as rough as possible. And then you get lots of nice crispy bits like that. So you get the nice soft inside, and then you get the crunchy, crispy outside. But there we go. So that is definitely the end of the video. They're even more of a success.